In today's story, the subscriber's friend's mom actually tries to hit on him, and very obviously it gets pretty weird. Gets pretty weird. It's a bit of an understatement, but yeah, enjoy. So the subscriber's son in this story, let's call him Tom. And so Tom has a friend, has a really good friend. He's known this friend for a very long time. And let's call this friend Ben, right? So Tom and Ben have been friends for a very long time. I think they met like either late in middle school or early in high school. And now they're both off at college. I think like it's probably like middle year for college. So like I think Tom's like 20, 21 or something like that. Like he's pretty much he's older, right? And he hasn't seen Ben in a while because him and Ben used to like hang out all the time in high school or whatever. Like they'd hang out, they'd try and get the same classes, they'd have like sleepovers every week, and then they both went off to different colleges, and it was a little tough. Like it was hard at first, but obviously life moves on. And they were both back for the summer because this was over the summer, right? They had summer break. They didn't have any internships that they were doing at this point. They would probably have to do it next summer. So they kind of knew that like this summer was like, it wasn't the last summer that they could do something like this, but it was probably the last easiest summer, right? It was the easiest summer in the upcoming future for them just to hang out and reconnect. So, Tom, reaches out to Ben and is like, hey, dude, like, I haven't seen you in forever. And Ben's like, bro, like, it's been so long. And, Tom's like, hey, do you want to, like, hang out at some point? And Ben's like, dude, like, I've been having, like, my mom bought this, like, this grill type thing. We've been having people over. Dude, like, come over to my house. We're going to have a barbecue. We're going to grill some meat. We're just going to chill outside. Like, maybe we can invite some of our other high school buddies if you'd like, or it can just be us. Like, it's going to be a really good time. And, Tom was like, dude, that sounds awesome. Like, of course. And he lists off a couple people that he, maybe wants to see. And Ben's like, bro, 100%. I actually had one of them over, like, not that long ago. Let me reach out to them. Can you do it in a week? So, yeah. So, Tom, in a week from now, will be going over to Ben's, just, to catch up with them, have a bit of a barbecue, and just have a really good time. Or so he thinks. Definitely doesn't think it's about to get super awkward. Definitely has no idea that, like, dude, it's about to get pretty bad. Anyways, right, so a week passes, and, Tom, he drives over to Ben's house, and on the drive there, it's just, like, really nostalgic, because, like, he gets to a point where he remembers, like, the drive, because, like, his mom would always drive him there on, like, I don't know, like, on weekend nights to, like, sleep over, and maybe, like, Ben's mom would pick them up or whatever. It just started to, like, all start to come back to him, especially when he pulled into the driveway, and he gets out of his car, and, like, Ben, I don't want to mix up the names. Tom gets out of his car and Ben walks out of the house like, bro. And then they just have this like, one of those like bro hugs or whatever. It's just like a very wholesome, great moment. Definitely the wholesomeness is not about to be absolutely obliterated, absolutely torn to shreds, absolutely nuked or anything like that. Definitely not. That's definitely not what the story's about to. All right. You get what I'm saying. Anyways, right, so it's probably like 7, maybe closer to 8, and, it starts to get a little dark, and, they're going outside, and, Tom goes in the house, and Tom and Ben are just talking, like, oh, how's college been? Because they talked a little bit, but, like, they've not actually really, like, seen each other like that. They're like, hey, how's college been? Like, how's so-and-so? I haven't seen him in so long. Like, oh, I didn't know he's doing that. Like, all that kind of, like, the basic catch-up stuff. And, they take out some, like, steak or whatever, and whatever they're going to grill. They head outside, and, the people that show up, like, some of his, like, high school friends start showing up. There's probably, like, 3 others. And at this point, it's like, Ben's mom also kind of wants to be, Ben's mom also wants to be out there just to kind of hang out with them for a little bit. And, Ben doesn't mind. Tom doesn't mind, like, Ben's mom was always pretty cool. Like, she was always pretty chill with them, so they were totally fine with her being there. So they were just out there, grilling some meat, all, like, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 of them at this point, which is, like, Tom, Ben's mom, and a couple friends, and they were just out there having a pretty good time. And they were also consuming adult apple juice, adult beverages as well, as one may do, which makes one's judgment sometimes get a little iffy, but we'll get into that a little later. Anyways, right, so they're out there, they're chilling, they're talking about, like, whatever, and then this is the first This is where things start to go a little bit downhill. This is where things start to go off the deep end. This is where, things start to just not do so well. It's kind of just like, I don't know, the first warning sign. And obviously this sign alone wasn't like enough, but it was obviously like, if you saw a full picture, it was very clear, but at the time, like this really didn't seem like anything. And I'll just say it. So, right, they're standing around, and then Ben's mom makes a comment. There we go. A comment to Ben. Or to Tom, right? Ben's mom is like, "Oh, Tom, like, do you have any girlfriends?" Right? And Tom's like, "Hey, Miss whatever, right? Miss Ben's mom, like, sorry, I'm in a bit of a rough patch right now with the ladies. Like, it's unlucky. It's a little unfortunate." And she's like, "Oh, I'm surprised. I mean, you're such, a good-looking young boy." And obviously, right? Parents say this all the time. Like, they're going to say that. Like, if someone's like, "Oh, no, I don't have a girlfriend right now. It's a little tough." They're not going to be like, "Well, that makes sense because you're ugly as fuck." Anyways, right, no one really finds that comment weird, as if I'm being honest, it wasn't that weird in that situation. It's kind of like a standard things moms might say. Like, it was pretty run-of-the-mill, if I'm being honest. Like, that really, if I was in that situation, or if I was someone there, like, being a bystander, and I didn't, like, know anything about, like, what was about to happen, I would have honestly thought nothing of it, man. I would have thought nothing of it. It would have just seemed like another standard normal comment that people make, like, honestly. But, the night goes on, and Ben's mom, consumes more adult beverages. And if you don't know, the more adult beverages you consume, the adult apple juice, right, the worse and worse your judgment gets. Probably if you're thinking something and maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense to say it, or if you want to do something, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to do it, the more of this adult apple juice you consume, the more likely you're going to make a decision that, I don't know, maybe you'll regret the next day, possibly maybe 100,000% in this case. But yeah, anyways, right. So as the night went on, Ben's mom, brought it like randomly, like there was a bit of a lull in the conversation. Like it was no way connected to the comment she made, like probably like an hour ago at this point. And she just looks at a Tom, and she's like, "Tom," and Tom's like, "Yo, what's up?" She's like, "I'm so surprised you don't have a girlfriend." Dom's like, "Aha, you know what? Low key, me too. Aha." He's like, "Aha, like, yeah, like unlucky, like tough. Hate to see it, but it is what it is." And Ben's mom's like, "No, Tom, like, I'm really surprised. You are a really good looking young man." At this point, Ben's like, "Hey, no, he's just a little bit like, okay, mom, thanks. Thanks. That's cool that you're telling my friend this, that you're really emphasizing how he's a good-looking young man. That's great. Thanks, Mom. Like, that's definitely not weird at all. Definitely 100% not weird at all. This is normal. This is fine. Everything's okay." So anyways, right, Ben actually, like, steps in and, like, changes. He basically goes in and swerves the conversation because he's like, "Nah, dude, this is getting weird." So he, like, changed it to the topic of, like, how people are doing from his high school, or just, like, talking about, like, reminiscing about the past, or just something like that. Anyways, right, it's getting, like, 11:30, maybe even close to 12. So it's probably time to wrap stuff up. So anyways, right, they let the fire burn down a little bit. They turn off the gas stove or whatever. And, the high school friends, they kind of depart. They say, "I'm going to head out." But, Tom's a good kid. Tom's a good kid. So he decided to stay and help Ben and his mom, clean up. So basically, right, Tom's like going around picking stuff up. And Ben basically says, "Hey, man, appreciate you sticking around to help me out. Just bring everything into the kitchen. I'm going to go." Like, he went to go do something. I don't have that detail, but he went to go do something, and it was just Ben's mom and Tom bringing stuff back into the kitchen. Anyways, right, so, Tom and Ben's mom, they're bringing stuff into the kitchen, bringing stuff from outside back in there. And when, they kind of like cross paths, and they're both in the kitchen at this point. And, at this point, Ben's mom is like, brings it up again. She's like, "I'm so surprised you don't have a girlfriend." At this point, Tom's like, okay. Like, this was a little weird. Totally cool the first time. A little stranger the second time. And completely weird the third time. But okay, it's a compliment. It's not like you're saying you're ugly. Like, "I think you're super ugly. I think you're so ugly that no one would ever love you," and saying that again and again and again. Like, it could be worse, I guess. And then Ben's mom, right? She's like, "Oh, I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted. I had such a long day." Tom was like, "I," he's like, "Okay." And Ben's mom's like, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I'm so sore. And he's like, no, this can't be going where. But Tom's just like, dude, this can't be going where I think it is, dude. No shot. And Ben's mom's just like, oh man, I'm just gonna lie down on the couch. She lies down on the couch. Tom's like, that's probably a good call for muscle relaxation. I would keep lying there. Let me go pick up the other stuff outside. He turns around to go outside, and Ben's mom's like, Tom, come back. Don't go away just yet. I have a few more questions for you. At this point, right, she had a lot of adult apple juice, and like it was getting pretty weird pretty fast. And she leans over and she looks at Tom and she's like, Tom, you know I like you very much. At this point, Tom, he's just like, okay. And she's like, Tom, I'm so sore. Can you give me a back massage? Like, Tom, he's not a fool, right? This kid's smart. He's got a good brain on his head. He knows exactly what's going on. And he's just like, maybe. And that's when Ben walks in. Today's secret word is cookout, so C-O-O-K-O-U-T. You can do one or two words, I don't really care. Comment cookout down below. I just like to see how many people made it this far into the video. I'll try and heart as many as I can. I can't heart them all, but I'll really do my best. And yeah, in some videos, I'll randomly shout out one channel member who commented on my videos. So in this one, I'm actually going to shout out two. So yeah, on screen, shout out to you guys. Thank you for becoming a channel member. You guys don't have to do it, by the way, but if you want to, there's a join button. Totally up to you once again. And today is your lucky day, guys, because for every single person who leaves a like on today's video will actually receive literally nothing. I'm incredible. I'm feeling like the spirit of generosity radiating through my bloodstream. It just feels so good to be so generous and give you guys nothing. So yeah, leave a like in the video. Anyways, so at this point, mini recap, right? Tom's in the kitchen with Ben's mom. Ben's mom asked Tom for a massage very weirdly. Ben walks in, and at this point, like, Thomas is looking at Ben. Because he's terrified that Ben thinks that he's trying to, like, seduce his mother, right? And it's not the other way around. But thankfully, right, you know, Ben had been kind of like, he got back earlier than they thought, but he kind of, like, hid outside the door. So he was listening to the whole conversation. And he also, like, knew what, like, he knew what his mom was saying, like, before to Tom. And he also heard, like, what, you know, his mom said to Tom, like, when he wasn't there, which was like a minute ago. And then also how weird, like, how Tom was, like, trying to get out of the situation very obviously. So Ben, like, walks in the kitchen and is like, Mom, like, what are you doing? And Ben's mom, right, at this point, wasn't in, like, the correct mindset to really, like, respond or take, like, the situation that serious. Like, she was kind of like, oh, whatever, dear. Like, I was just talking to your friend Tom, that's all. And Ben was like, no, Mom, you've been being weird all night, and now you just were weird again and asked him for a massage? Like, what the fuck? What? Huh? Like, why? And she's like, oh, he's just your friend. And she kind of, like, turns to him as if, like, he's not there. Your friend is so cute, Ben. And Ben's like, Mom, what? Mom, go to bed. And he turns to Tom. He's like, Tom, like, I'm so sorry. Totally feel free to leave. Like, no hard feelings or anything. And Tom's like, yeah, I think I'm going to slip out. This is totally fine. Don't worry about it. Like, your mom had a little bit too much apple juice. Like, totally chill. Like, don't worry about it. And Ben's like, dude, this was like a reunion. I'm so sorry it ended like this. And Tom's like, dude, don't even think about it. I'm going to round up and kind of forget that this part even happened. I'm just going to remember the good parts. Don't even worry about it. So yeah, so Tom drives back home. In the whole car ride back, he's like, what the fuck? And he actually, like, funny enough, he like calls up one of the other friends who was there. And he's like, dude, do you remember, like, what Ben's mom said to me? And he's like, yeah, it was a little weird. And then, you know, Tom goes on to explain everything that I just explained to you guys. And the friend is like, dude, what? Anyways, right, so, like, the next day rolls around, Tom checks his phone, and he gets a text from a number that he doesn't necessarily recognize, and then, you know, he reads into it, and apparently it's actually Ben's mom apologizing for what happened last night, saying that she totally, like, she had way too much apple juice, and that she barely remembers it, and she's so sorry, and she really doesn't mean anything by it, whatever she said. And, you know, Tom responded, like, dude, like, Ben's mom, like, don't even worry about it. Just have a good day. I don't really care, honestly. I know you weren't, like, in the best state of mind at that point, so I really don't care. You're off the hook. Subscribe if you haven't already, and then go ahead and watch another video. There's some on screen. Just click one of them now. Do it.